Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the installment of Scott Selections here for Tuesday, April 20th. Before getting today's play of the day, a quick recap of what happened yesterday. We're going to pick up a loss with the Celtics -6 and -110 on Fox Bet. I said that we're going to gamble on the injury report, and then you had a couple of unforeseen outcomes with the injuries that ended up kind of screwing us. We had the Celtics, who ended up beating an early line move. I thought Brown would play. He ended up playing, and the line climbed to around 6.5 in the morning. That means if Kemba ended up playing, you would have ended up seeing the line probably go to around 7.5 or so. However, Kemba was ruled out, and then at about, I don't know, about 4 p.m. Eastern time, you ended up having Marcus Smart being added to the injury report as he also came down with the illness that Brown and Kemba had. And Smart was a late scratch. And when he was scratched, the line dropped to around 5. And the Celtics were still up 6 at the half, looked decent early on. And then the wheels fell off in the second half, and Boston lost outright. Tatum had a triple-double, but he also shot 3 of 16, which wasn't exactly in the cards for us. And we ended up picking up a loss. But it happens. I dared Chicago to actually do something against a good team. They did so, and Chicago ended up taking advantage of the injured backcourt or the shorthanded backcourt that Boston had to offer. So either way, it happened. To look for a bounce-back winner here on Tuesday. And for the play of the day, we're going to be looking at a TV game between the Clippers and the Trailblazers. It'll be taking place at around 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And for the play of the day, we like the road favorites here with the Clippers, -7.5 and -110 on Fox Bet. Time recording of 2:17 a.m. Eastern Time. Couple reasons why I like the Clippers in the spot. First of all, these two teams have been heading opposite directions lately. The Clippers have won 8 of their last 9 games, 7-2 ATS during that stretch. Meanwhile, the Trailblazers have lost 6 of their last 9 games, and they are also 3-6 ATS during that stretch. Now, you look at the Clippers, this team, of course, has been dealing with injuries all season long, mostly to their main 2 guys with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. However, they are finally healthy together once again. They ended up playing together against the Timberwolves, and they won that game pretty handily. Kawhi only played about 23 minutes, but they were also up by about 30 in the third quarter, so they really didn't need to try that much later on in the game. But it's nice to see the Clippers at full strength, and now they take on a Portland team that is pretty injured right now. Now, you look at today's NBA. I've ranted about the injury report numerous times, and now you don't know who's going to play. Portland has already done us a favor, and they have already announced that Damian Lillard and Nurkic will both be out for this game. Lillard has missed the last couple of games, and Portland has struggled in his absence, of course, offensively. McCollum is still there, but besides him, you're relying pretty heavily on Norman Powell, and that's basically it. You want to talk about Lillard. He has a hamstring injury. You don't really know when he's going to come back, but this will be the 3rd straight game that he has missed. And in the first 2 games, Portland scored 107 against the Spurs and 101 against Charlotte. So this team offensively has been a disaster since he ended up getting injured. And Nurkic is kind of a bit of a surprise. He has played the last couple of games. However, he is being held out due to injury management, according to The Athletic, which means you will get a lot of Enes Kanter, but that also means that you will get a lot of pretty abysmal center play defensively from Kanter, who still can't guard a pick and roll to save his life. But you look at the Clippers, one area that this team struggles in is the big men, because they have pretty much Zubac, and that's basically it. And now that Nurkic is going to be out, I do think that kind of balances itself out. I think the Clippers, of course, should end up dominating on the perimeter and the wings. Now, you look at how these teams have played so far this season. These teams have played twice during the regular season. Lillard and McCollum did play in both of those games. So if you were worried about the Portland being shorthanded for those games, so the sample size doesn't exactly apply, that is not true in this case. And both those games went the same way, one-way traffic for the Clippers. You look at both meetings, the Clippers have won each of those games by at least 17 points, and Portland was never really close at all. To make matters worse, the Clippers ended up scoring at least 128 points in both of those games, and it's really not a surprise. Now, you look at the efficiency numbers for both teams. People know how good Brooklyn's offense was during the course of the year. However, as of right now, the Clippers have the most efficient offense in the league, and they are on pace to have the most efficient offense in the history of the NBA. Meanwhile, Portland ranks 29th in defense efficiency, and they're also on pace to have a bottom 3 defense in the history of the sport. So the Clippers should end up being able to score at least 125 plus again on Tuesday. And based on how Portland has played offensively without Lillard, I think it will be a pretty long evening at home for the Trailblazers, as the Clippers should win this game pretty handily. 7.5, I think, is too low. Should probably climb to around 9.5 or 10. I really just don't see where the Portland money is going to come in from. They got killed with Lillard twice against this team, and now they're without him. I think the Clippers win this game pretty handily. Plus, Phoenix did win yesterday in a pretty controversial overtime game. But either way, the Clippers are now 2 games behind Phoenix for first place in the Pacific Division. So this game is pretty meaningful for the Clippers. And since Nurkic is being arrested, it seems like Portland might be willing to throw in the towel on this one. But either way, the play of the day once again here for Tuesday, April 20th is going to be on the Clippers, -7.5 at -110 on Fox Bet. That's been this installment of Scott's Selection. Go to all of you and respect the best today. Bye, everyone.